Hello, my name is Adrienne Phelps, and this is the Technology Implementation Plan for Mattawoman Middle School for the years 2020 to 2022. The Bible states that having wisdom and understanding is better than having silver and gold. This comes from Proverbs 16:16 out of the New King James Version. This is important because today's students are coming in with much more technology knowledge than any other kids have ever before, and we must use that to our advantage to teach them the understanding that they need to further themselves in the future. The mission of Mattawoman Middle School is to implement technology across all grade levels in order to engage, enhance, and challenge students to become global 21st century learners. The implementation of technology will ensure that the diverse students population are prepared for the next level of learning that will be presented at the high school level. The vision is that all students at Mattawoman will interact with technology on a regular basis. The vision is that all students will become familiar with using this technology within all content areas so that they are successfully equipped within the knowledge to reach the goals of further 21st century learning. Now, when creating this implementation plan, the first thing after vision and mission was I had to come up with goals. Goal 1 is that students will use digital tools to broaden their perspectives and enrich their learning. To do this, the students will be taught how to log into their Office 365 accounts, and then they will be taught how to create, save, share, and collaborate within the Microsoft platforms. Goal 2 is to provide educators with specific content training that allows for successful implementation of technology within the classroom. This is really important because a lot of teachers do not necessarily have technology knowledge and are not comfortable with using it, and how can we teach students to use it if the teachers cannot? So to do so, we're going to give content area training in the areas that the teachers would need, such as Microsoft programs and Discovery Education, which is the online textbooks. Goal 3 is that leaders and educators will develop and maintain partnerships with and collaboration within the community to fund the use of ICT and digital learning sources. Now, this is important because we need to keep all stakeholders involved, and especially parents. So we're going to teach parents how to use the web-based programs and access class websites and the student grade portals and all of that. The next part of the tip is the needs assessment. At the beginning, we have to focus on the strengths. The use of educational technology enhances both skill and cognitive characteristics of the learner. Now, when looking at the strengths of Mattawoman, we have a lot of technology in the building. We currently have 3 computer labs and 90 desktop computers, 2 laptop carts, and 1 iPad cart. And we also have projectors in every room. Our internet is ready for one-to-one devices, but we just quite aren't there yet. But everything can be accessed at home, including things like Khan Academy, Code.org, MobyMax, and things like that. The next thing we looked at was weaknesses. The biggest weakness is a lack of technology within the school. And that's a problem because there's just not enough. There's over 1,000 students and there's only about 400 computers, and that becomes an issue to use. And also, there is a lack of teacher training. A lot of the other teachers don't know how to use the online tech manuals and the things like that. So that is a weakness that needs to be addressed. The next issue we looked at was opportunities. Now, some of the opportunities, the biggest opportunity is looking for funding to get more technology and computers to be able to allow our students to use technology, hopefully on a day-to-day basis. Eventually, we are going to need more computers, and that is going to require funding. The next thing that was looked at was the threats. Students are more likely to become off task, and teachers will have to use more time bringing them back to task in larger class sizes when they are not engaged. So the biggest thing is finding ways to engage them with smaller class sizes. We have about 28 to 34 students per class, and that averages out to a very small amount of time, about 2 minutes per student for one-on-one instruction, and it's very easy for students to become off task, so that is something that really needs to be addressed. The next thing was the needs analysis. Now, the purpose of a needs analysis is to identify the needs and determine an action plan. When doing this, we decided that it would affect everyone across the board, administration, teachers, students, parents, and that we're going to work on getting this implemented across the board, and our students range from 11 to 14 in age. After the needs analysis, we started looking at the planning process. The first part of that is the goals and objectives. I had to look at the goal that I had and then match it with a standard and then describe strategies. So for example, the first goal is that students will use digital tools to broaden their perspectives and enrich their learning. This came from Hamilton in 2015. Now the standard comes from that students will leverage technology to take an interactive role in choosing, achieving, and demonstrating competency in their learning goals informed by learning sciences. This comes from the ISTE standards. And the strategy that I matched with that was during the first week of school, students would be taught how to log into their accounts, and then they will learn how to create a PowerPoint. Each goal was lined with a standard and an objective that matched the ISTE, the Universal Design Guidelines, and made sure that every student, regardless of need, was going to be reached. The second part that we looked at was environment. The professional learning community would be one of the ways that I would implement the environment. A professional learning community design allows students to complete assignments online, computer-based curriculum, and with the assistance of facilitators. This is from Cronholz in 2011. Students that follow this are able to access everything from home, and that way if they miss school, they're not really missing school. The other part would be a blended learning environment, which includes both personalized instruction and use of online tools. The next thing that I looked at was student engagement. A lot of times students need to become engaged in the lesson. If they're not engaged, they're not learning. However, to become engaged in a technology lesson, they need to understand how to use technology. So the first thing would be teaching them how to access the materials so that it takes up less instruction time getting them on point. After that was looking at application tools. Students will need things like laptops, desktops, iPads with internet connectivity. We're going to need to save money. Teachers will need to be trained throughout the year on how to use these things. And the result would be that students will create a PowerPoint within the first month of school that explains how to access documents within Office 365 or Discovery Education, and they're going to present it to their classmates. After the planning process comes implementation. The biggest part of implementation is the budget. First, I looked at what are we going to need? We need more computers. So I looked for about 40 more computers at an average cost of $170. And then training was the second part of that, and it would cost about $100 per trainer for 50 lessons, which is a total of about $11,800. The next part was the professional development plan. I had to decide how was I going to train the teachers to implement the lessons. So week one was teaching them how to use PowerPoint. We looked at where does it fit, how does the students use it, what would be a backup plan if the technology isn't working, and how would it be effective. And we talked about that for ELL students, English language learner students, they would be able to use pictures, and for higher level students, they would be able to use more in-depth tools such as video and things like that. So it would be able to reach all students and allow them the creative ability to push out information on their own. Week two was learning how to use Microsoft Word so that they can present their information and collaborate and edit each other's work within the online program. And week three was learning how to use Discovery Education, which is the tech manual. There's a lot to it. It offers a lot of different things. And if you can't access it on the computer, you can print out a lot of the documents. At the end was the executive summary. The executive summary looks at everything in general and how would you implement it. So we decided that I would match the ISTE goals with the Maryland State goals, and they would be reflected in the plan as it moved forward. It's created for students with modifications and adaptations in mind. At the end, we looked at the crosswalk of goals, which matched up the ISTE goals with the Maryland standards and the Universal Design Guidelines. So, for example, the ISTE goal was students must have regular opportunities to use technology to develop skills that encourage personal productivity, creativity, critical thinking, and collaboration in the classroom and in daily life. The Maryland standard that matched that is improve student learning through technology. And then the technology plan said that students will utilize technology daily to enhance skills that will benefit them for 21st century learners. As I created this plan, I looked at how would it benefit every stakeholder involved, every student, every teacher, every parent, and we tried to match that up so that eventually it's a daily use of technology for everyone and includes collaboration. Please see the next slide for references. Thank you for watching my tip.